Kristen, given the two candidates have never debated against each other before, we really don't know what to expect. Or do we? Will they employ their usual strategies to tackle their opponent?
Right. Yeah, we really don't know. There's so much up in the air about this. The conventional wisdom is that debates aren't supposed to matter. And it's pretty difficult for me to come out here, given what happened in the last debate, which ended up pushing Joe Biden out of the race. I can't really say that. So we're really kind of in uncharted waters here. There's a lot of Americans who don't know very much about Harris, and they're hoping to find out some more at the debate. We know a lot about Donald Trump, but one of the big questions is kind of which Trump is going to show up. Is he going to be able to control himself and keep himself on topic?
What are the weaknesses of both candidates which the other might take advantage of?
Well, I think one of the big weaknesses with Harris is that she is not quite as much of a known commodity as we would usually have at a campaign or a candidate at this stage in the campaign. And so Donald Trump can create a story around her if she allows him to. On the other hand, it's very clear to me that the Harris campaign has as their main strategy to try to get Donald Trump to lose his train of thought, start attacking her, because they know that voters don't like that, and Donald Trump has a real problem oftentimes keeping himself under control.
Well, the microphones will once again be muted, and this reportedly ended up benefiting Donald Trump when he debated against Joe Biden. How so? And do you think this will work to his advantage again?
Well, yeah. So the microphones are muted. I think that Harris wanted them on to be able to catch these kinds of side conversations. And she didn't win that, right? And what ended up happening in the last debate is that it really highlighted kind of these moments where Biden wasn't as quick on his feet and affected how people thought of him. This time they won't be unless there's a back and forth. So Harris is going to be trying to get him into a back and forth to keep that microphone on.
Well, how do you think she'll handle Donald Trump's style of debating and the information he tends to put out that often needs to be fact-checked, which is difficult to do in this format?
It really is. And one of her strengths is that she is massively well prepared. And she will have a sense of how he said things in the past and have quick retorts for those things. But the question is that, being massively well prepared for the most random and unpreparable for kind of debater is going to be really difficult, because the only thing I know for sure is that Donald Trump's going to do something that surprises everybody.
Well, what they can prepare for is to talk about the issues. What will voters most be wanting to hear about from the two candidates, do you think?
Well, I think one of the big issues is the economy, and Trump will try to keep the discussion there. The economy is actually doing okay, but people are not super positive about it. On the other hand, Harris is going to want to go to the issue of abortion, which is something that's a real liability for Trump.
And would you say that whoever is victorious, though, at the end of the day, at the end of this debate, it's not so much about what issues or policy they've discussed or put forward, but their performance and how they've handled the other candidate?
That's absolutely right. Because, again, most Americans don't know very much about Harris. They'd like to see her behaving in a way that is presidential. On the other hand, there's been, back when Trump was running against Biden, there was a lot of discussion about Biden's age. And that conversation has now shifted toward him because he's not super young either. So that's going to be his real difficulty, is trying to show that he has the capacity to lead for the next 4 years.
Well, the poll suggests that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are currently tied. Do you think this debate could be a game changer?
Potentially. I mean, at this point, it's Donald Trump. Anything could be a game changer. But I do think that typically this is when we see the average American paying a little bit more attention to politics. So you're going to see a lot more eyeballs on the screen, particularly because there are so many unknowns, that this really could be the moment where these candidates cement who they are for November.
And we also don't know that much about the vice presidential candidates. They're to face off on the 1st of October. Can we say what we can expect from that debate?
So the conventional wisdom is that vice president candidates don't matter. But remember, we're no longer in the world of conventional wisdom. And we're in a really interesting place because Tim Walz, the Democratic nominee, is what's called above water, which is surprising in that there are more people who like him than dislike him. And that has not been true for a national political candidate since the early years of the Obama administration. So Tim Walz, the Democrat, is surprisingly popular, and Vance is surprisingly, J.D. Vance, the Republican, is surprisingly unpopular. So if there's going to be a moment where these vice presidential candidates matter, if there's going to be an election, this is going to be the one.
Well, we look forward to seeing how these debates turn out. Kristen Kuntak, always great to get your views. Thanks so much.
Thank you.